consciousness and the unified field. Beyond the form and what we consider as matter, there is a field full of information and energy that we can call the unified field. This concept arises because until now physics describes the fundamental forces of the universe separately, failing to unify them in a theory. The term unified denotes unity, wholeness, and intelligence. Theoretical physicists have so far been unable to formulate a consistent theory that combines general relativity, corresponding to the macroscopic universe, and quantum mechanics, which deals with microscopic levels. The two theories have been shown to be incompatible. Despite its supposed advances, science continues to use a false methodology, or rather, an incomplete one. From time to time, new theories appear that invalidate the previous one or modify it, but they continue to be insufficient and relative, adjusted to a certain description. This is the problem with the scientific method. It only proves what the scientist is looking for. It is the proof that it is the observer who creates reality. A relative physical reality, since his point of observation is relative and physical. The greatest difficulty arises because in its descriptions and methodology, science cannot include consciousness, that is, subjective experience. Obviously because it is beyond any calculation and objective demonstration. And for this reason, the universe that it describes is mechanical, material and fragmented. In fact, they still wonder if there will be life on other planets, because it has not been proven yet. Incredible. If we consider that at the deepest level of our being we are all intimately connected in a unified field where we are all one, it is very easy to understand how we influence each other. And when we contact this unified field of being, we enliven that unity, that harmony, and that coherence in the collective consciousness of society. And in doing so, we all seem to flow together more harmoniously. The human being needs a way, a spiritual purpose, that serves as a guide and reference so as not to get lost in the illusion of the physical senses and ignorance. The most fundamental level of human intelligence, that is, pure consciousness, and the most fundamental level of nature's intelligence, which is the unified field, are not independent or separate, but one and the same. Subject and object share the same nature, without differences. It is the observer's point of view that creates material reality. We have already seen in previous videos, the close relationship that exists between the field and matter. One does not exist without the other. Our physical body also exists extended in space, in a non-physical way. And these energy fields are demonstrated. The problem arises when trying to describe them, since they are isolated from their natural source. And this is where the meaning is lost and what they really are is not understood. Accepting that trying to describe with words is limited in itself. Imagine that the unified field contains all information and energy, and that all of creation, past and future, exists simultaneously, encoded as a hologram within this field. All creation emerges from this vibrating unified field, taking various forms as that wave evolves, from tiny strings and particles to atoms and the physical world as we experience it. Yet all are just a form of condensed energy, flashing in and out of existence, but nothing is solid. What we have called matter is energy, whose vibration has been so low as to be perceptible to the senses. Matter is just a form of energy. These are the words of Albert Einstein. And these manifestations of energy intertwine with each other, guided by an invisible force within creation itself, to form the greatest things that give it every appearance of being real, and every appearance of being completely solid. But now we know that this is not true. Try to imagine that everything you perceive exists at once, such as all the versions of the tree you see outside the window, from the present moment into the past, to the tree's birth, and into the future until death. Of the tree, they exist encoded within space and time, holographically within the unified field. The same thing happens with our existence. The essential being exists as consciousness beyond time and space. Our being of the past and the being of the future are contained in the present moment. The apparently determined past and the future with multiple possibilities. And it is the movement of consciousness that will choose between one of those possibilities. There is no movement or existence outside of consciousness. The universe does not move. At fundamental levels we cannot affirm that there is movement, only appearance and disappearance. What moves is the consciousness of the observer. It is our perception of reality at this physical level that gives the appearance of change. In other words, reality, time, and all movement are nothing more than the result of consciousness or mind in motion. Particles, in quantum mechanics, do not follow defined trajectories. It is not possible to know exactly the value of all the physical magnitudes that describe the state of motion of the particle at any moment, but only a statistical distribution, that is, probabilities. Therefore, it is not possible to assign a trajectory to a particle. We can say that there is a certain probability that the particle is in a certain region of space at a certain moment. The particle you are observing appears and disappears, and when it reappears there is no way to tell that it is the same one we were observing. Scientists discovered that reality at fundamental levels is flickering in and out of existence. When the experimental procedures by which such variables in physics can be measured are examined, it turns out that the measurement will always end up disturbed by the measurement system itself. Indeed, if, for example, we think about what would be the measurement of the position and speed of an electron, to carry out the measurement, in order to be able to see the electron in some way, it is necessary for a photon of light to collide with the electron, with which is changing its position and speed. That is, by the very act of making the measurement, the experimenter modifies the data in some way, introducing an error that is impossible to reduce to zero, no matter how perfect our instruments are. In other words, there is no objective reality, it is the consciousness of the observer that creates a certain reality. There are only holographic images that change when consciousness expands and contracts in on itself. This ebb and flow represents the change of polarities, it is the breath of the universe, which allows life, appearance and disappearance. Cycles within cycles. This also means that each consciousness is an extension of the universal consciousness, the unified field, and that, as the unified field expands and contracts, individual consciousness inevitably follows this movement. All creation and all activity in creation is the result of interaction within consciousness. Awareness creating awareness. The true substance of all creation is the mind of the Creator. Believing in a separate consciousness or individual being is ignorance and illusion. And not understand the meaning of individuality. Everything is consciousness and therefore, essentially, unity. Each creation, each individual being, is a manifestation of this unique consciousness, which moves and projects to observe and know itself, experiencing through physical bodies. The illusion is due to the fact that the universe is structured in planes of correspondence determined by the level of energy, and therefore of consciousness. Going from the unity of cosmic consciousness to individual physical consciousness, the fundamental levels vibrate at a very high frequency while the more physical levels do so at a lower frequency and are more dense, which is why they give the illusion of materiality, individuality and movement, thus creating time and space as we know them. This does not mean that physical life is not important. On the contrary, it is the field of experiences and memory. It is the level where the spirit manifests itself and realizes itself. It is a manifestation of love. But without transcending the borders of ordinary perception, that is, the limits of the physical senses, the mind remains trapped in a prison. And this is the root of the suffering of human beings. You must open yourself to knowledge, to a broader and more intelligent truth. Try to understand the relationship between your mind and matter, between your physical body and the field that surrounds it, between your existence and that of others. In the intimate silence of your inner being, you can hear the sound of truth. Simple and pure. You are what you always were and always will be. Free and bright spirit. So, turn on your light and illuminate the path of others. Thanks for following our videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It helps us to spread knowledge.